I don't know. Anyway, it's really interesting. Oh, I guess so, yeah. So it's like it's sort of surreal futurism. So that finds me attention. The lounge seats, they have to like.
Sorry.
Anyway, people are great. It's just like, what's the matter? It's not as fascinating now. So it's like, well,
We don't need to knock on wood.
Hello, everybody. And just to give everybody a heads up, we're going to begin in about 10 minutes or so. So please avail yourself of the beverage and food. Remember that if you spend $10 with your Pay What You Can entry, it does include a beverage. Thank you so much, and I'll be seeing you in about 10 minutes. Hello again, everybody. So we're going to get things underway. I recognize there's some folks still in line for beverages, so thank you for your patience there. I just wanted to, my name is Brent Van Steldynen. I am a local writer, and I'm a member of the LitLive organizing committee. And I'm going to begin tonight with a land acknowledgement. So LitLive's home is in Hamilton, Ontario, on the ancestral lands of the Mississauga and Haudenosaunee people, in the territory covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, the city of Hamilton is home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we recognize our responsibility to learn about the rich history of this land so that we can better understand our roles as settlers, neighbors, and caretakers. We want to thank a few thank yous to get out of the way and to say thank you. Just, it's so incredibly, what a privilege it is to be able to do this. We want to thank the Staircase for hosting us here on this wonderful space. So let's give the Staircase a hand. We also want to thank our federal and provincial and municipal arts bodies for the various levels of funding that we've received over the years. We're just really grateful for public arts funding. It really helps us do what we do, so that's great. Yeah, we do. We really do. And yes, and I think we're coming up on another, we should be finding out soon if more is coming. So. Also, thank you to my fellow members on the LitLive committee who do this on an entirely volunteer basis. So thank you to the LitLive committee, both past and present, a number of whom alumni are here today. And to all of you for coming out. We wouldn't do it, and we couldn't do it if it wasn't for people actually being here, so it's great. So give yourselves a pat on the back and say thank you to yourselves, and give yourselves a round of applause. And then the last, but certainly not least, we want to thank the authors and writers who come to share their art with us and the things and the words that they've made so beautiful. So thank you to the authors. Oh, don't worry, we're going to thank them again. So just a reminder, we do run on a pay-what-you-can basis, so all of your contributions are greatly, greatly appreciated. $10 gets you a beverage at the bar if you haven't already availed yourself of that opportunity. We're so grateful for anything that you can contribute, of course, and we're thankful that you're here again. I'd just like to remind everybody of the LitLive Safer Spaces policy. LitLive strives to be a safe and welcoming space for people of all gender identities, abilities, ages, cultures, and sexualities. With that in mind, discriminatory language or behavior of any kind, in person or online, has no place at our event, and we ask all of you to help us uphold these important values tonight. We have 4 amazing authors lined up for you. Our first reader tonight is Tamara Faith Berger. She writes fiction, nonfiction, and screenplays. Her work has been adapted for film, nominated for the Trillium Book Award, shortlisted for the Relit Award, and won the Believer Book Award in 2012. She's the author of Lie With Me, The Way of the Whore, Maidenhead. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know how to pronounce this one. Kuntalini. Okay. Thank you. Queen Solomon, and her most recent novel, Yara, out with Coach House Books. She has an MFA in creative writing from the University of British Columbia, which is where I know her from. And on a personal note, she was always somebody I knew whose advice and whose writing I could count on when we were going through the MFA program together. She lives and works in Toronto. Welcome, Tamara.
feel like I was just on the QEW, so it's like, here I am. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to read from Yara, and I feel like this theme was desired sexiness and stuff, so I just took the assignment. And I'm going to call this part Naughty Nice. That's the name of the agency that Yara just entered, and she just got dressed in the lingerie that they handed her in a plastic bag. I was still wearing the Israeli sandals, buckled leather and flat. Brian slid past me into the bathroom, apologizing. There was a shoe rack in one corner that I hadn't seen. Brian crouched down and measured my foot to his hand. He extracted a pair of high heels, pink vinyl, and cracked. Okay, he asked me, looking up my thighs. I saw him glance at my vulva. My vulva felt bloated and strange. I told Tal before I left that I wanted to stop the court case. She said her dad wouldn't stop working. The deposition had been sent. Tal said we had to finish things off. We had to do the right thing. I'd be protected, Tal said. Brian unstrapped my left sandal. His hands were gummy and warm. I like feet, man. I can't help it, he said, running 2 fingers under my arch. I laughed without meaning to. I was ticklish. Brian slipped off my other sandal and slid my foot into the cracked pink high heel. Nice, he said. They fit good, Yavelberg. When he stood up, he was really close to me. He brushed by my fur hem. The guys think your name should be exotic with your accent and all. I was eye height with him in the heels. Brian's face was chiseled and boxer-like. He clamped his hand on my forearm and led me back down the hallway. I felt dust in the slit of the panties. I walked hip to hip. Here she is. Voila, Miss Yavelberg. Brian didn't let go of my arm. The guys all pushed their chairs backwards, giving me space. Brian stood with me in the middle and spun me around. One of the men stubbed a cigarette on a newspaper under his shoe. Very nice. Double D? I think C, Brian said. D or double. No way are those girls less than that. Our vision is classy. Does she understand? Lingerie for a man and his wife. This is private ads only. You don't have to tell your parents, okay? I thought this was a film production company, I said, on the verge of something. Brian looked embarrassed. I stared at him over the men's heads, laughing or crying. I wasn't sure what. A bubble in my throat, a bubble for a face. I wanted to look sexy. I wanted to act. We got busted, Brian said. We had to relocate, rebrand. The teddy had spaghetti straps. My breasts felt too heavy for that. My nipples both hurt like pinpricks or something. My girlfriend always said that my breasts were tasty sugar flesh, cantaloupes, the underside. I loved her sucking on them. Tell her to do a little turn, be girlish, something. My performance was not working. These men didn't even make films. I was not cute with deep thoughts. I was no slut on the hunt. I heard Aloni in my head, or maybe it was Alan, nice bikini, Yara, but you need a new shtick. We call this one the Midnight Nighty for sex time. Can we see the eye slit? My engorged little vulva, my engorged little brain. Is she gonna take it off? We spoke about it, Brian said. Brian was setting up a tripod with a tiny camera on top. I thought about the way he'd massaged my feet in the john. Don't be scared, Yara. You are beautiful, Brian said. But my skin felt all fractaled, like Tal's mottled hives. May I? Brian said, walking into the circle again. Dazed Manson girl, dunce-like, gummy forelimbs. Brian's breath smelled like yogurt. I felt something bloom in the slit. Brian slid one big hand down the 90s V-neck. He lifted my breast up into the cup with the seam. He surgically lifted the other. His hands felt as sure as they had with my feet. 90s look better with nipples, darling. Then Brian took my left nipple between his fingers and twisted it hard. My eyes watered. He didn't do the other. I didn't know why. Let's take a few pictures and see how we do. My jaw felt protruded. I had donkey teeth. You look a little hungry. Let's see the lips closed. I walked around the circle like cattle. I bit my lips shut. I had to make my right nipple be even bigger than the left. I heard the other guys breathing, old men all around. This was an introduction to the auction. I committed to it. I spiraled in the center of the circle, heavy breasts and squished toes. I wanted them to see me from every angle. I licked my lip, felt my fur hem, cracked heels, feminist, nipples like eyes. I heard multiple breaths. I thought, my girlfriend started this. She made everything sex. I don't know why it was addictive to be thought of like this. My girlfriend would hate me here, same as Tal. This was their antithesis. But I was the star in the center of men. I was a sex star, fireworks shot through my head. Naughty nice, true crime, Brazzers, Brasilia. What did it matter who was watching me, I thought. I had eyes on my body. I was looking back. Dershowitz, Dissenter, all watching was the same. Brian took pictures, the radio played. I was a sex star on the airplane, sex star in the park, sex star on Saturn, studded and ocular. It was working, I was moving, I was dancing to shake. Malefic, Brazzer, get ready to fuck. Very nice, said a guy. Naughty nice, I said back. All the guys laughed. I bent down, shimmied up. Show us the slit. I didn't hear a shutter click. It occurred to me that camera made videos. She's a D, man. We like the jiggle. Let it go, girl. I like you, Yavelberg. I squatted right down to the construction floor. I opened my thighs. My pussy hung down 3 feet. I could scrub things with it, scrub the floor with my pussy, make a big mess. Was it all an act? Wrote my girlfriend, Yara. Tell me the truth. No, I wrote back from the Starlight's cubicle. I wrote her again, even though I said I would not. I tried Tal at first, but she didn't respond. I moved from squat up to straight legs and from straight back to squat. Brian looked at me squint-eyed. He lit a cigarette. Yara, wrote my girlfriend, you've been body snatched. I had a nasty, nice, monstrous body made of jelly and slits. I felt a hand on my leg, yanking the fur-rimmed hem from behind. The men's chairs had come closer. I was jiggling and twisting for them. Told you, Brian said, she's a natural, man. Crouch and fold, crouch and fold, crouch and fold until you die. Radio crackling, slit sparkling. Maybe I like the fear of being exposed. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
That's a good reminder. I did forget to mention, we are doing something a little different these days. We're having a theme every month. And so we ask our writers to see what they can do in response to the theme. No pressure, it's not mandatory or anything. And tonight's theme is desire because it's February and all things pink. Pink and Valentine's on February. Our second reader tonight is Jake Byrne. Jake Byrne is an award-winning poet, as well as copywriter and editor based in Toronto. Their work has been published in journals and anthologies across North America, and their poem, Parallel Volumes, won CV2's Foster Poetry Prize in 2019. Their debut book of poetry, quote, Celebrate Pride with Lockheed Martin, which is such a great title, came out in 2023 with Woolsack and Wynne, and their second poetry collection is forthcoming this year with Brick Books. Welcome, Jake.
Hey, everybody. This is an incredible crowd for a Sunday night. Thank you for coming and supporting a literature event with your precious time. There's still time to leave. Thanks for having me. I really like Hamilton. I've only been here once before, but it seems like a charming little place. And yeah, I'm thrilled to be here. So I don't have any copies of this for sale, but this was published by Woolsack and Wynne, who are here, so you can just go to their storefront on James. It is on James Street. Okay. All right, so I've got about 15 minutes. I'm not going to take that long, I hope. I'm going to read a couple poems from Celebrate Pride with Lockheed Martin, and then I'll read a couple poems from Daddy, which is coming out in the fall with Brick Books. I'm going to read a few poems from this collection that I haven't read very many times. I think you'll see why. I think they fit. This one's called Silver Needle Tea. In a city cold as a syringe, he serves me silver needle tea. Prefers I not stare at his track marks when he's in shirt sleeves. I let the powder wash down my tongue so I never have to feel this way again. The world ended a decade ago. We're just waiting for the confirmation email. Here, every home's $1 million teardown with a basement full of dime bags. Here, the traffic lights wink green, whispering to you that with enough money, you could be anybody. You could drive straight through all night if you like. You're in the driver's seat. Nobody can force you to stop or slow down. Go far and as fast as you like. Air consumptive. So the reason I'm reading some poems that are not typical of the ones I read from this collection is because they're more along the desire themes, which are all throughout the book. But you're not going to get the sense from these poems that this is it's kind of like a Dr. Strangelove concept album thing. Has anyone in this room ever seen a Stanley Kubrick film? I'm playing you. So this book is mostly like a Dr. Strangelove-esque caper. But yeah, to experience that aspect of the book, you're going to have to check it out yourself. Air consumptive. It was the year of the asp, filleting its own tail, year of opioid-induced constipation. I slept with fangs on the wink of your scrotum. I shat out your bones and whittled them into fountain pens. Give me Librium or give me meth. I knew you play-acted the way your cousin puppeted you when he was 20 and you were 10. They found him in a white van on Stanley and Jane, a bullet snaked in his sphincter, out his brain. How, even then, steel wool couldn't scour the stench from my hands. How, even then, the semaphore of my cigarette relayed your halfway house's hidden location. How, even then, if snitches get stitches, that a pound of your flesh binds my debut collection. How apologies sweet, but never so sugared as the liquid the clinic dispenses at 10. How daily I swallow my medicine. I actually don't think I've ever read that poem out loud. That one's from like Concordia. I wrote that one like 10 years ago, so it's real vintage for me. I'm gonna skip the boring commentary. The next three poems that I'm gonna read are, from my forthcoming collection. This one's a bit less concept-y. I like to think that this is like the coping mechanisms book, and the book I'm going to be reading from next is called Daddy, is why I have the coping mechanisms. But I picked kind of my like cheekiest, most desirous poems from that collection for tonight. So this is The Devil Reversed. Cast off your chains and be free, like it's easy, like it won't cost you a damn thing, like a damned thing is or is not, like a damned thing thought, like thought was the damnable act and the thinking hell's reprise, like skinned knees, bruised blue, in submission and in servitude. About the sublimation of the will I know a thing or two, a quiet pocket to let the obedient child within nest within, safe and secure, warm and embraced. Love is a law and hell is a place. Hell is a place where we all hold the keys. Let love do the thinking. Get down on your knees. That one's fun to read. My tragedy. I just spent the night with the most beautiful boy. Smile lit up my room. When he was inside, I felt union with God. Some faiths conceive of desire as a wheel, keeping us bound here in realms of illusion, or like popular carnival attraction, the zipper, bashing your skull on the cage as you whirl. But my tragedy, the most beautiful boy I've ever seen in my life, the new one, has just told me his name as his husband spins next to us on a bar stool chair. I am slightly flexing every muscle in my body so that I'm leaning subtly into the hungry curve of his delta pectoralis, so that if an onlooker were watching, I would appear to be swaying into the center of his orbit while still firmly on my feet. One breath away from contact, like a moon around a planet, my cycle thus again complete. Okay, we're only at 7 minutes, so I'm gonna have to choose some other ones. Because I want to end with this next one, because it's really decadent. You know, the other ones were quite restrained. I saw a man I vaguely wanted. I saw a man I vaguely wanted smoking on a concrete planter, an open sore like a USB port amid his monochrome tattoos. If you are not wearing the prescribed colors here, you must be questioned by the authorities. They will pry you open with their long batons. A white woman dressed in shades of taupe and cream was wearing a Christian Dior sun hat, retail price $10,000. She was swaying, hands clasped, in time to the music the young black singer sang to. The singer's voice was beautiful. I saw the way the woman in the sun hat looked at him. I saw love in her eyes. I saw hope glisten like gold on Oxford Street. I wanted to believe in her. I swear I wanted to believe. All right. Got one more for you. Thanks for being a wonderful audience. Thanks for showing up, especially those of you who I know who came out of their way to show me some love. A jester, God, sorry, it's really over the top. A jester in the court of love at midnight in the hellfire realms. A jester in the court of love at midnight in the hellfire realms. Once I got a little, I wanted a lot. Then I got a lot, and still I wanted little else. A very hungry, ghostly little caterpillar squirmed within my anus, devouring all the life that I'd feed to it, and how I feed it, and how I do. I wanted to sing every tune in the hymnal till my voice was cracked and hoarse. I believed that if I stayed to the end of the ceremony, I might discover something new to say about life, beyond the creak of the bed frame, or the farting noise when my skin unstuck from yours after you took your beautiful torso off of mine. Have I ever told you that you have a beautiful torso? Have you ever felt a man's beautiful desire adhere to the shape of your own from across the bookstore, the hot tub, the half-full subway car? Have you ever been given instructions to sneak through the back, past the red-painted gate, up the wrought iron staircase? I didn't do that on purpose. Up the wrought iron staircase and the sliding glass door after his husband is asleep? Have you ever felt a need superseding every other? What was the need, and where did you feel it in your body? Have you ever taken your place as jester in the court of love at midnight in the hellfire realms? Of course you have, you bad thing, you. Have you ever danced a pas de deux with shoes sold red as licking flames? What desires would you walk over coals for? Can you hear them now hollering, chanting your name? Thank you very much.
It's so cool when things like the staircase references happen completely spontaneously. That is very neat. We're going to take a quick break, about 10 minutes or so. Please have a something from the cafe, something consumed. Buy a book. I think we have a few books for sale to support the authors. And thank you again. So we'll see you in 10 minutes-ish.
I'm going to be like torturing you today. Give a good sign.
I have no idea. I don't know.
Take a your phone and you get help.
Okay.
So don't look at me, look out at the crowd. There you go.
Okay, I'm looking out at the crowd.
I love this. This is good. No, keep going, keep going. This is good.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
Okay?
Well done, well
Okay.
done.
All right.
This spotlight feels like a new addition. Well, I hope that was 10 minutes. I forgot to look at the clock. Felt like 10 minutes-ish. Felt it was about time to get back to the literature. Our third reader for the evening is Anuja Varghese, who's a superstar. She's an award-winning writer and editor with work in several literary magazines and anthologies, including Queer Little Nightmares, Best Women's Erotica. I have spots from this now. I'm having trouble reading it. And I have to hold it kind of off to the side so I don't see the green floaties. Devouring Tomorrow, the Food of the Future, forthcoming in 2025 with Dundurn Press. Her debut short story collection, thank you, titled Chrysalis, came out in 2023 with House of Anansi Press. Chrysalis has won everything, including, yeah, right? including the Writers' Trust Dane Ogilvy Prize and the Governor General's Literary Award for Fiction. Anuja lives right here in Hamilton, and she's also on the LitLive committee, and we're just so pleased to have her as part of that, and we're very pleased to have her here to do some reading. Welcome.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. It's lovely to be on this stage reading some work for you tonight. I have a lot of sexy bits in this little collection, so I've picked a story called Cherry Blossom Fever to read. It starts with Marjan's perspective. Every year, for 2 weeks in mid-May, the city is struck by cherry blossom fever. In April, the city waits on the edge of spring, which should be soft like rabbit ears or tulips. More often, spring in the city is sharp, the mornings still mean and frostbitten, the gray dusks prickling with the threat of overnight snow. Maybe it's because the city has been cheated out of a proper spring that it goes a little mad by May. That collective frenzy for the surreal storybook perfection of sakuras in full bloom, something between catharsis and cliché. It was in the midst of this feverish state that Marjan met Talia. She saw her for the first time as the sun was rising behind the trees, which was the only time the light was good and the benches empty enough to sit and sketch. Talia was sitting on the bench Marjan usually claimed for her own in sundress and sandals, crimson-tipped fingers covering the Starbucks logo on her cup. There were other benches. Marjan could not have said why she chose to sit next to her. No, that's not true. Marjan sat next to Talia because she couldn't stop herself from doing it. Like a paperclip drawn to a magnet, she had no choice. If two people could be immediately reduced to their most primal selves, to their animal brains and strongest instincts, then that is what happened between Talia and Marjan on a bench in High Park on a Tuesday morning in May. How did they go from pleasant conversation to watching shitty daytime TV and drinking cheap champagne in Marjan's third-floor apartment at the bottom of the junction? It was the easiest thing in the world. And then later, when the streetcar tracks quivered in hazy August heat and even the shade in High Park felt scorched, it was just as easy to strip down to their underwear and suck on ice cubes while sweat ran down their backs and pooled in the hollows of their throats. And it was easiest of all to dissolve the confines of friendship and satisfy the desire that pulsed between them, a thing as palpable and fully formed as the cherry blossoms of May. I think you were born a phoenix, Marjan said to Talia, running her fingers through Talia's hair, which by the fall was the color of ripe strawberries again. Its asymmetrical lines were sharp, intersecting with cheekbone, lip, and jaw. Talia gave this serious thought before replying, I think you were born a mermaid. And so they mythologized each other with their mouths and their hands and their heat, and as the leaves fluttered down to filter the apartment light in shades of red and gold, it was a dream from which Marjan never wanted to wake. Marjan didn't think it all that strange that Talia never mentioned her family, who lived so far east they were practically in Scarborough, a world away from the junction where they had come alive together. She didn't question why, in the course of a year, she had only met a handful of Talia's friends, people who stared at her with tight, silent smiles, their tongues seemingly swollen from how hard they were biting down. Marjan shrugged these things off, assuming a conservatism that came with Talia's skin, assuming Talia's people would eventually come to love her, just as her own mother and brother and all her friends had immediately, unreservedly embraced Talia. That was Marjan's understanding of love, that it expanded when you needed it to. Marjan spent the winter planning her proposal, which she meant to make in the park when the cherry trees were in bloom again, Under that perfect canopy of pale pink and white, with sunlight streaming down through the blossom-laden branches, she would give Talia her great aunt's opal ring. She would get down on one knee and Talia would start to cry, and everyone around them, aggressively seeking the perfect selfie, would stop to smile and clap, sidetracked from their quest by a declaration of love born from a fever dream. Marjane called Talia from the park on the anniversary of the day they first met. She could have texted, but she wanted to hear Talia's voice, her laughter at Marjane's suggestion. Let's make out under the cherry trees. Marjane touched Talia's name on her phone and let it ring. Hello? Marjane froze and pulled the phone away from her ear to stare at it. Had she somehow called the wrong number? No, it was Talia's number and Talia's face, but not Talia's voice at the other end of the line. Hello, the voice repeated. Who is this? This is Marjane, Talia's girlfriend. Who is this? She asked. There was a long pause, and then the voice said, this is Sunil, Talia's husband. Okay, this is Talia's perspective. Okay, I know what you're thinking, but in my defense, it wasn't so much that I told them lies. Rather, I told no whole truths. Is a half-truth the same as a lie? Where are the stories about me, the ones that tell the whole truth? If I were the main character in an Alice Munro story, I would move to the country and live out my days in stoic, silent grief until I died alone. If instead I were the heroine of a Margaret Atwood story, I would wage war against my oppressors, eventually alienate myself from society, and most likely die alone. If I woke up tomorrow in a Hollywood movie, I would be sad and beautiful and get to fuck everybody, only to be murdered by one of my jilted lovers and left to die alone. If I woke up in a Bollywood movie, I would sing a sad and beautiful song, get to fuck nobody, and die by my own hand, nobly, dramatically, and obviously alone. These were the words passed down to me by those older, wiser, whiter women who colonized the pages of the books we read in school. These were the stories I had seen reflected back at me on high-definition screens. Even when the language was different, the choices were the same: silence, rage, violence, death. No happy endings for the deceitful, the lustful, the unfaithful ones among us. Where would be the justice in a joyful end for a character like me? Think what you will, but just so you know, I was not the only one trading in half-truths. Sunil departed from the script we had agreed to follow years before I did, and if he could do it, if he could mold his body to fit more than one shape of love, why the hell couldn't I? We're moving to Silas's perspective. Silas watched Talia's phone light up and vibrate, not for the first time that morning. It buzzed insistently against the bedside table where she had left it in her rush to get out the door. It was her apartment, her bed, her husband. But Silas had come to think of them as his own. She was never home anyway. She existed for Silas only as a shadow lurking at the edges of his happiness, a distant threat without form or feature. And when Sunil pressed a warm mouth to his, all soft need and cased in hard lines and hard choices, it was easy to forget she existed at all. Eventually, Sunil sat up, forcing Silas's head off his chest, and he picked up Talia's phone. Sunil stared at the screen, and when it vibrated against his palm, he put the phone to his ear. Hello, he said, and then, hello, who is this? Silas watched Sunil's face in the mirrored wall of the closet doors. It had gone blank, only the occasional twitch of his jaw betraying the collapse of the fragile world they had built. Silas sat motionless, uncertain of whether the moment called for compassion or privacy, and in hesitating, he managed to offer neither. Sunil said nothing to the woman coming apart on the other end of the line. Silas caught bits of what she was saying, enough of her strangled, panicked disbelief to understand who she was. When she abruptly hung up, Sunil put the phone down on the bed, and he and Silas both stared at it, slightly horrified, as if it were a dead rat on the tracks at Victoria Park Station. Maybe she'll leave him, Silas thought. Maybe she knows, he said. Maybe she's always known that I'm what? Silas wanted to hurl the phone off the balcony and the shadow of Talia with her beauty and her secrets along with it. Seeing someone else, he said. The contrast of their bodies side by side in the mirror was stark. Silas was a reed, wiry and thin, a shaggy-haired kid carved from a walnut tree. Sunil was a trophy formed from molten honey, sculpted into the shape of a serious, broad-shouldered man. Go home, Silas, Sunil said. So Silas got dressed and took the elevator from the 27th floor to the 22nd floor of the tower in Massey Square where they lived. He had met Sunil in that same elevator, the only one out of 4 that was usually working 2 years ago. A friendly nod between 2 brown dudes became small talk, became a beer after work, became Call of Duty till 2 in the morning, then crashing on the couch, crashing in the bed, a hand on a thigh, a need, a comfort, a thing resembling love. Or at least it resembled love to Silas. At home, Silas ate a bowl of cereal on the couch and scrolled listlessly through Grindr, largely ignoring cookies, whining, and baleful stares. When the pugs circling and snuffling took on an air of desperation, Silas was finally persuaded to switch out flip-flops for socks and sneakers and load the dog into the back seat of his mom's old van. "Where should we go today, Cookie?" Silas asked, all false cheer, ignoring the chasm expanding in his chest, the growing fear that this woman on the phone with her questions and her breaking heart had disrupted the unspoken order of things in some irrevocable way. Whatever he and Silas had, whatever Talia had with the woman on the phone, whatever Sunil and Talia had together, all these things existed in a delicate balance. He knew with the heavy, wordless certainty of someone who has never been allowed to call desire by its name, that to end one was to end them all. Talia was always gone, her days and her nights endlessly occupied, caught up in the glamour of her Toronto gallery and the chaos of the city that loomed far beyond the borders of Massey Square. Silas didn't know what Sunil and Talia's arrangement was, or if they had an arrangement at all. He never asked Sunil, "Are you cheating on your wife?" Or, "Are you gay?" Or, "Are we in love?" That wasn't the way they talked to each other. To ask those questions would have been pointless anyway. Silas already knew that what he called love, Sunil called a sickness. What happens when the son of non-practicing Christians falls in love with the son of non-practicing Hindus? Nothing. Neither family can accept the possibility of love shaped like this. It is simply not what brown sons do. And they were, after all, sons first and men second. Sunil had reminded him of this on those few occasions when Silas dared to suggest something beyond sex, a step outside the frame in which Sunil had them both locked. "Let's get out of this apartment. Let's get food. Let's go down to the ravine. Anything you want." Sunil had looked at Silas, perplexed, as if he had suddenly slipped into a foreign language. "You know we can't. End of story. End of script. I'm married, Silas. What if someone saw us? What would my parents say? What would your parents say? You really want to fuck up both our families for this?" What is this?" Silas could have screamed, but he was easily silenced by stubble against his neck, by the pull of hands that pinned him to the floor, the wall, the bed, by a body that drew pleasure from him like water from a well. Sometimes Silas drove to the bluffs or down to the beaches, but today he took Cookie to Birkdale Ravine. His phone buzzed in his pocket, and he pulled it out to read the message from a recent Grindr match. "Sorry, LOL, not trekking to Scarberia for brown dick." Silas barked a laugh. What else was there to do? He walked. When he knelt on the wet ground to give Cookie a belly rub, she mashed her wrinkled nose and frantic tongue into the side of his face. Here, at least, was a language he knew how to speak, a kind of love he could understand. They came to an open space with a few stone benches and a small grove of cherry trees lining the path to the houses beyond. These were young trees, planted only recently in a neat row. They stood in sharp, artificial contrast to the oldness and the wildness of the tangled woods that sheltered the ravine and its trails. The pale blossoms were sparse and sickly looking, forced to bloom in a place they didn't belong. Somewhere in the city whose skyline Silas could see from Sunil's balcony, its silver towers rising from the lake like so many jagged teeth grinning at the sky. People were losing their goddamn minds for these trees. Silas begrudged them this pleasure, this fever they could embrace, while out here in the wilderness, they burned in silence, never fully flowers, never fully ash. Silas let the dog piss on the cherry trees and messaged his match back. Fine, I'll come to you then. Meet in High Park. And I'll leave it there. Thanks.
Our final reader tonight is Andrea Verhun. Did I get that right? Werhun. Werhun, thank you. Yes, just click back in there. Writer, performer, and producer based in Toronto. She has been the subject, performer, and producer of the award-winning short film, and there's going to be a bit of a progression with this, Modern Whore, and the follow-up CBC short documentary film, Night at the Strip Club. She has written articles, given lectures, led workshops, and participated on panels on the topic of sex worker rights, as well as being interviewed by the Daily Mail, the New York Times, The Guardian, Vice, Hazlitt, and the CBC. She is the author and co-creator of The Next Step, the memoir Modern Whore, a memoir, Next Step, which is soon to be a major motion picture starring Andrea herself. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Okay, so I'm going to read you a story that's about desire. When you're a sex worker, you desire two things: money and rest. This is a story about both of those things. When your job is desire. All you want to do is take a little break. So this story, find it in here. It's called The Smoking Room, and I'll have one copy for sale, by the way. So first come, first serve. And content warning, I will be doing accents. Here we go. Every night around 9, the locker room at the club buzzes with excitement. Every chair at the mirrored counters is taken by women applying makeup, straightening hair, and trying on outfits. They are teasing, laughing, talking shit about customers, tricks, passing around bottles, bragging about their children, their men. They arrive late into the evening because that's when they make their money, when the patron is sufficiently plastered and ripe for the exploiting. As dancers, we find our people in the locker room, the ones with similar life experiences, backgrounds, and senses of humor. For some, the mantra is, I didn't come here to make friends. I on the money, nobody else. For others, working at the strip club means a party, getting drunk and high on someone else's dime. One must coexist in the locker room with a variety of volatile personalities. Confrontational, cocky behavior might get a girl cornered with a pleaser heel to her throat. Coexistence is giving each other space and keeping to one's people. I squat on the floor to reach my tiny bottom row locker and crack open the combination lock. 1953-15. In 1953, I was 15, I sing to myself. When the door swings open, I unbuckle my shoes and replace my 8-inch heels with my club-famous cow slippers, never letting my feet touch the floor. In the locker room, we play a silent game of The Floor is Lava. A stripper's bare foot on tile is verboten, frowned upon. It doesn't behoove us. We're above all that. I play too. Wearing my slippers is the only way I know I'm taking a break. I grab my one-hitter and lighter from the bottom of the pile in my locker, close her up, and glide away, much shorter, to the smoking room. In the hallway, a little window peeks onto the front desk of the hotel lobby. Mitch, on night shift, stands by, and I remember I told him I'd buy some of his weed. Psst, I whisper, leaning into the window and looking around to ensure there are no hotel guests within earshot. Can I get 2 grams? We both have to be cautious under the gaze of the security cameras that surround us. Yep, he says, walking slowly towards me. Meet you in the smoking room? I'll be there. Down the hall, I push and turn the old brass knob while twisting the key attached to a stick hanging from the lock. It's a 1-2 punch to get into this sacred room, a small, bare-bones chamber with pink walls tinged orange from years of smoke, featuring a sink, mirror, closet, dresser, desk, chair, bedside table, and single bed. A fan points out a small window, nearly the only window in this place. Inside, Adriana and Tammy, 2 friendly smoking room regulars, share a blunt. Adriana stands next to the sink, a tall, slim, straight-shooting mother in her mid-40s who's been a stripper for 20 years. She wears a plush aubergine robe she keeps in the dresser and a shower cap. The musky smell of the smoking room has a way of following us out the door. Tammy sits on the desk at the foot of the bed, blonde hair and a high pony. She's in her mid-20s and cute as a button. She can outdrink anyone and tell a story like no one else. I place my hanky down on the bed right below the pillow and take a seat. I can't take it, I can't damn well take it, Tammy says in her thick Nova Scotian accent, shaking her head. It's too goddamn dead down there. Right? Adriana says in her thick Hungarian accent, looking at me. What are we supposed to do? There's too many girls here, not enough men. I shake my head as I take my one-hitter out of my purse. I slide the top around, release the pipe, and dip the tip into the weed compartment. When the bowl is full and tightly packed, I bring the acrylic tube to my mouth, lighting the metal end. It's awful, I say, blowing out a plume of smoke. I have $370 in my purse, so I'm not too worried, but I know, as we all do, that much of our money is chalked up to luck. And who are these girls giving $50 blowjobs? Adriana asks, bewildered. She's a member of the old guard. It's not right. Literally, go work out on the street, you dirty urchins, Tammy says. Ain't no $50 blowjob got a place in here. It's so fucked up undercutting us like that. There are new girls doing that, I ask. New girls, old girls, desperate girls, Tammy says. It's a slow fucking season, I'll tell you that much. She takes a hit off her blunt and passes it to Adriana. Where are the regulars? Adriana asks, gesticulating wildly. I love her. Where did they go? I used to have so many, now they don't come. What's going on? I'm starting to feel my high. I think about all the times I've peered down from the pole, naked and glorious, to a crowd of men looking at their phones. It's absolutely pathetic. Everyone's just staring at their phones these days, I say. Porn destroyed our profession, Tammy announces. She has a wise, authoritative way about her. She'd make a great teacher. The internet destroyed a lot of professions, I say. People don't even go to live shows anymore. They live stream that shit. They don't want to interact with humans anymore? Is that it? Adriana asks. She wants to get to the bottom of this, I can tell. Man, they don't want a human anymore. They would rather a screen. I hate it. I hate it. She takes a hit and exhales from her nose like an angry bull. Someone is fiddling with the lock and doorknob, eliciting our attention. Who will it be, we wonder? I see the beard first. Mitch enters the room. Hello, ladies, he says. Hi, Mitchie, Adriana and Tammy say in unison. Special delivery, he says as he swings his closed hand in my direction. I present my palm and he drops the bag of weed into my hand. Thank you, I say, digging through my purse for a 20. It's an indica and sativa hybrid, he says. Homegrown, get you fucked. Sounds good to me, I say. And how are we all doing this evening, he asks. We're commiserating, I say. It's so dead, Mitchie, Adriana cries, getting close enough to lightly shake him by his shoulders. You don't have to tell me twice, he says. I know it's bad down there. No, Tammy says. It's not just bad down there. It's downright dead, murdered, killed. Somebody's gone and killed Tomcat's Gentlemen's Club, and I sure as hell know it wasn't me. But someone did, that's for damn sure. Don't forget it's January, Mitch says. It's 2020. The year has just begun. It's always slow the last 2 weeks of January and the first week of February, every year like clockwork. We all nod, traversing our memories of January's past and finding no lies. Okay, back to work with me. Enjoy the weed, little Sophia. Thanks, Mitch, I say. And I hope you all have a better night. He disappears into the hallway. Okay, Tammy says to herself, but loud enough for us all to hear. I've had my blunt. It's been a long time. The room better be different when I go down there. I'm coming back up here, no word of a lie. If I don't make my money tonight, I don't know what I'm going to do. You're going to make money tonight, sweetie, Adriana says. We all are. We just got to be patient. Oh, I suddenly remember. Zeke said there was a miners' convention in town. That ought to help, you think? There's always conventions, Adriana replies. They don't really do much, but tonight, she catches herself. Oh, tonight is going to be a good one. I better mind me a diamond tonight, I tell you, Tammy says, rising to leave. She ties her ass hanky to her purse strap. Below it hangs a little bottle of Purell, a stripper staple. Bye, sweetie, Adriana says to me with a big smile as they both head out the door. Good luck, I call out. Being alone in the smoking room is a rare privilege. I stand up and look at myself in the mirror, one hitter in tow. I blow out smoke and pout my lips and pose. I feel good. It's already 9:45. The floor has probably changed by now, but my policy with the smoking room has always been to take as much time here as I need. What's the rush? One more puff and then I'll emerge. I return my ass to the bed, shuffling backward to lean against the wall, my legs fully straight, my slippered feet hanging off the mattress. I wonder how often this comforter is washed, and then decide to stop wondering. Now that I'm so cozy and alone, I don't want to go back down. Suddenly, Laura bursts into the room, shaking her head. Ugh, she says, plopping down beside me on the bed. I hate it. I just hate it. Still bad down there, I ask. Not just bad, she says, but very bad. It's like every night I've worked for the past couple weeks, there's always one guy who tries to haggle. Why the fuck do they do that? If I hear one more guy say 3 for $50, I'm going to snap. I hate it, I say, taking another hit. Fuck going down to the floor. Lara's too interesting. She's the club's resident lesbian. A pale brunette beauty in thick-rimmed glasses. I don't understand how she puts up with this shit without a modicum of sexual desire for these guys. She pulls out a joint and lights her up. It's so hard to make money with just dances anymore. I feel like in the last year my earnings have been cut in half. It sucks, she says, passing me her fatty. Lara is one of maybe 3 other dancers, including myself, who don't do extras. We're all feeling it, the pressure to do more. And I don't have the motivation to go up to guys just to get rejected, she says. So I sit in my corner and wait for them to come to me. Sometimes it works. She pauses. No, it often works. Just lately it's been, I don't know, not good. I got bills to pay, dude. Laura has been sewing stripper outfits in her downtime to supplement her income. I've purchased one of her pretty pieces, one she made just for me. There are a few things I love more than supporting sex worker side hustles. I just wish I could make more money dancing, she said. My girlfriend's got debts to pay, and I've been helping out with that I've been helping out with, and I don't have much for myself. This is the girlfriend who disapproves of what you do? I ask. Yeah. Laura peers at me over her glasses. She hates what I do, but she loves my money. She's so weird, she says, rolling her eyes. I nod. It's a common sex worker complaint. People stay with their partners for all sorts of reasons. I assume Laura is happy enough. She has a job at a hospital, too, and often comes into work after her day shifts. 2 mouths to feed. We sit in silence. It is now 10 p.m. What a good long break I've had. Probably time to get back to work now, though no one's telling me what to do. Okay, back to work with me, I say, slowly sliding myself off the bed. Good luck, girl. Thanks, she replies. I think I'm going to get out of here too and try one more time. If there's nothing, there's nothing. But I should probably make some sort of attempt, right? We leave the room together. She turns to the right to go straight downstairs, and I turn to the left to return to the locker room. Better to try, I offer. It just takes one, as they say. True, she responds. Okay, good luck. Good luck to you, I say. The same beautiful women are primping themselves up in front of the mirrors, passing a nearly empty bottle of tequila. The dancers hush momentarily as I enter the room, and just as quickly return to their conversations. At my locker, I put my cow slippers away, spray myself down with perfume, strap in my heels, and return to the grind. Thank you.
Well, that concludes our readers for the evening. Just a reminder that we are here the first Sunday of every month. So on March 3rd, we're going to be back here. And the theme for that night is questions, I believe. Questions? Does that sound right? Questions. Either way, we're here, even if it's not that theme. So please come back in a month. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram. We also have a website where you can get up-to-date information at litlivereadings.com. And thank you so much for coming, and have a great, great night. And if I could get our readers up here, we're going to do a group photo.
You're like the star. You're like whatever. I feel like everybody's really understanding. That's not where I feel like people are more. I mean, I guess some of them are a bit. I think one of them was like exclamations, but I mean, I guess that's. Yeah. Just right as I like. What are the perks? Hi, where do you want it?
Right up there. I don't know. What's best?
Levels or just do the whole thing?
Is this like a flash kind of thing? I think it's a flash kind of thing, right?
You play with it.
We'll do one. One where everyone looks really sad. Just kidding.
Oh no!
Okay. Sure.
Normal face.
Do one with the pose of desire.
Oh, we cannot put that on.
No, that's right.
Are we good to do?
Are we doing the normal face? Is that what it is?
No, yeah, normal face.
Normal face.
Normal face.
Everyone 7.
Normal bodies.
Don't say cheese.
Okay.
Okay, that's perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, so I will send there.
Can we delete? I think it's not my entire not so bad.
We're gonna head out. Next week. It's not ruined it right. Yeah, my wife was trying to do basically every time we get on it, she's like, yes. All in favor of Thank you again, everyone.
Oh, that's right.